What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We have had some fun technical difficulties getting this episode set up, but nonetheless, it is set up and we are live and in living color here on the Dark Harbor Takeover right here on the Mindless podcast. And with me today, my guest, she probably scared the hell out of you as Scary Mary this year. And if she did, bravo, because I know she scared the hell out of me. My guest, the one behind Scary Mary this year, one of many Scary Marys this year, Shorty, how you doing today? How is life? Thank you so much for the time, and we appreciate you being here.
Hi, hello. Hello you and hello everybody. I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here and yeah, let's go.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, let's start off from the beginning with you. Like for you, obviously you could tell, Halloween and horror go beyond haunt for you. I mean, it is a lifestyle, much like many of us. I mean, look at the background. You got Dracula back there. You got a lot of iconic deep cuts back there for those who are massive fans of the horror world. Talk to me about where it all started for you. Where did you fall in love with the horror and the Halloween like lifestyle or just the vibe of it?
Oh man, hell yeah. When I was little, I always remember Halloween in the fall time being just such like a warm, like nostalgic kind of time for me. I mean, it was always nice because like you look outside and there's like fall leaves and like you could either go the horror route or you could go the spooky route. And actually, because I loved all of that so much, like every one of my birthdays my parents would take me to Not Scary Farm. And what a surprise, right? And I just fell in love with that and like the whole world. And I'm a big movie person, and horror movies just have it all for me. I mean, there's so much to pull from and stuff like that. So for me, horror and Halloween's kind of like all engulfing. It's the obsession is just there. It's constant, and I feel like it's always been there.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I mean, I think I'm also a huge movie guy, and I'm always, no matter what genre. But there is something about horror, especially now more than ever, that is just really opened a lot of people's eyes, especially with how it's made these days, where it doesn't have to be a jump scare every now and then. It can go psychological. It could be anything else. It could be some of the most brilliant ideas that you would have never thought of. And I feel like there's a lot of directors out there today that are redefining the genre and bringing back those roots of what a good horror film is. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean that just watching those films as a kid and then you grow up into seeing these icons and then it just kind of becomes a lifestyle. And then it comes time to face those icons face to face at these haunts. I'm talking you, Halloween Horror Nights. Uh, but I mean, yeah, I mean, you go to Not Scary Farm, and then you go to like all these other haunts around SoCal, and it kind of just really immerses you into the world they want to immerse you in as far as horror and haunt goes. So, I mean, I mean, it's I could see it with the way you have everything decorated, the way the lifestyle presents itself. I mean, it's very similar to me. I mean, it's always like horror t-shirts, it's always like horror, year round. I'm always thinking like, what can I do that's horror, and it's always the challenge, right?
Oh my gosh, every day of my life. Absolutely.
Yeah. So talk to me about when was the first time you got to go to, of course, you said Not Scary Farm. That's always a huge one for everyone. I mean, Not Scary Farm is where a lot of people get the inspiration to want to become monsters. If you live here in SoCal, what was it about that first trip that made it super memorable for you?
Oh man. Well, I was like even tinier than I am now. Like just like I was like I'm surprised they let me in there because I was so young. Like it was crazy to me. And like I remember walking in the carnival area with my parents, and I was like scared, of course, because I was like sort of knew what was going on, sort of didn't. But the clowns came up, and then instead of being mean or whatever, they like came up like all the sliders with their gloves, and I actually remember like the smell of the glue and like touching them and stuff like that, and like they all like just like made a little crowd like around me, and then they were just like talking and like were really nice, and I was like, whoa, these people that look scary, like they're actually really nice and cool. What is this? So I like that's like a visceral like core memory for me. So I think it was really like I don't know, it just meant a lot to know that like there's so much to this world that like I had already liked, but, like, I was like, "Huh, what's that about?" Like, who knew later on in life I'd be doing this? But, like, it was just just, like, everybody's just great over there. Their camaraderie and stuff like that, and, how, like, they could be scary, but, like, if there's, like, a little kid, like, they could be nice too, you know? They don't have to, like, scare that little kid and stuff like that, and I was glad to be one of those because they unknowingly raised another scare actor.
Not Scary Farm raised another one to go out into the world. I love it. Um,
Pretty much.
Talk to me about when it was the first time for you to jump a little bit to audition. Now, what? Obviously, I know probably everybody knows you have to be 18, all that stuff. After high school, it's a big deal for a lot of people who've been going for years as fans. What was it like for you? If When you first went to your first haunt for for an audition?
Oh, man. So, like, the way I went about all of this whole world is kinda strange. When I turned 18, that fall season, I was a part of this, like, trick or treat experience, like, in LA, and, like, it was, like, very light scare acting. Like, I wouldn't even really call it, like, to the extent that, like, we do now. But, I was like, I just, like, I wanna get some kind of experience. I still wanna celebrate it, and I was a little shy to go audition for the big one, so I was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna do that." Um, but actually, I had a great time doing that, and then the year after that, I did Shacktoberfest, and then the year after that, they reached out to me and was like, "Hey, do you wanna be Scary Mary for the entire run?" And I was like, "Yes, are you kidding me?" So, like, again, I kind of it was just a little strange because typically, like, you see people like when they turn 18, they go immediately to the big haunts. And like again, I really wanted to do that, but I was not secure in my abilities. Like I wanted some kind of buffer before going into the big ones. So
And now you're at, in my opinion, one of the big four of Southern California, and I call the Dogtown of the haunt industry, which is the Queen Mary's Dark Harbor. Um, I mean, I don't think you could have chose a better place. I mean, not to mention just the history behind the ship, and I mean, everyone knows it, everyone loves it, everyone has stories around it. So I mean, it's great to be a part of something that has such longevity history, not as both just the ship aspect itself, but just the haunt in general goes back to when it was called Shipwrecked, you know, and um, that must have been cool to be a part of that legacy, not only the return of Dark Harbor, but just to adapt the new generation to Dark Harbor. Talk to me about what it was like to, take part in something that you have of Shacktoberfest, which I've said before that 2023 was the testing ground to bring back Dark Harbor for 2024. I mean, all the seeds were planted there, and anyone who's a fan of Dark Harbor knew that that was what that was. But talk to me what it was from going from 2023 to doing this kind of Dark Harbor-esque Shacktoberfest to returning to Dark Harbor in 2024.
yeah, absolutely. So Takeoverfest, right? It was a time. There was a time to be alive. It was goofy. It was silly. But I'm very very grateful for that because like everybody there from like the management to the actors were just so incredibly like welcoming and like they really urged like creativity and like to do your own thing. And like there had been like murmurs of like Dark Harbor, I want to say, like, oh, like, well, it would be cool if that came back. You know what I mean? And so it was, and I made a lot of like crucial kind of friendships and connections like with the actors that I would be and like working with Dark Harbor. So like I did Shacktoberfest. It was a fun time. Like it was just wild. Like you ask anybody, that was so chaotic. Like it was just like a free for all. It was like Gotham City. Like every time you go in, it's like, oh man, something else just happened. You know what I mean? So
Oh, yeah.
like I was like, oh man. And then finally like Dark Harbor came around and like it felt like, oh shoot, like it's serious now. All the OGs are coming back. Like it was like it was really trepidatious, really, because like even though like we had already been there, like it was like a whole another shade. Like you're kind of going back to the basics, but it's like darker. It's with an edge. So I mean, it was just like it was really scary, but, like, super exciting and, like, nerve-wracking to see what comes next with that.
Well, I got to go to both years of Shacktober, got to see what that was like. When you talk about that 2023 season, I think the one maze that a lot of people saw a potential return with Dark Harbor for the next year was the Gray Ghost, which was obviously the longest maze at the event. I think they took over like multiple rooms that you would put some of the mazes that you would at Dark Harbor. And it was like a 15-minute walkthrough. I remember that. It was insane.
So long. It was ugh.
It was such a nostalgic return to, like, me and my girlfriend walked through this, like, "This is Dark Harbor, like, this is Dark Harbor." Um, what was it like for that 2023 year as far as just kind of it seemed like with the 2023 year, there was a different approach and change for the event prior to 2022. What was it like, bringing in that 2023 vibe? Because it was a vibe in 2023. I feel 2023 was way better than 2022 in my opinion. So what was it like to bring in that vibe for that 2022 2022 20 a lot of
We're
numbers.
so many years going on.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like, I wasn't fortunate to work the 2022 year, but the 2023 year, like, just the energy was there, like, night after night, and it was just really like, crazy, and, I was a part of the Gray Ghost maze, so and, like, yeah, like, I played another little girl, getting typecasted like crazy, but, like, um, but, like, it was like, you ask anybody that did Dark Harbor and that also did Shacktoberfest 2023, as chaotic and fun as it was, like, they're like, "Oh, it's 100% better than the first year," because I think the first year they might have not like, they didn't really know, like, what the tone was still, like, it was a little fun, you know what I mean? I did attend in the 22 year, but, like, as a guest, but, like, it just like, it definitely felt different, like, they had a lot more, like, production in terms of, like, lighting and, like, the whole goofy, kind of silly, um, thing that they had going on because of Shaq.
He definitely was something else. I remember when we went that first year opening night, and he was there for the press event, and it was just funny trying to watch Shaq shoot free throws because if anyone knows, Shaq can't shoot a free throw. So uh, to see that happen in real time was just so hilarious to me. I'm like, why do you continue to try when you know you're not going to make it?
But, okay, there's one qualm about that 2023 year, and you could ask anybody there. Shaq we did not see Shaq in person, and we're angry about it. We're like,
I
"Where is
heard.
he?" Yeah, we're like, "Oh, like, is he gonna come by?" Like, we're all really excited to see him, and he was the real ghost of the entire event because we didn't see him anywhere, and I was like, "No." I was heartbroken, but it's fine.
I know, that's what I heard too. I was actually very shocked when I heard about that because of the fact that, you call this event Shacktoberfest, so you're expecting Shaq to show up a few nights. At the very least the press night to kind of promote the event. But yeah, I heard he didn't show up at all this year, and that kind of shocked me. So I was like, oh, that kind of tells me then that this was just like a 2-year thing. This wasn't gonna so Dark Harbor may be coming back in 2024. And I think that's going to bring it. Oh, you lost your network connection trying to reconnect. Well, here's a word from our sponsors.
About that.
Are you there?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I just can't see you. Great. Another
Oh.
problem. Another great problem. It's on my end. It's a network connection.
Oh, okay. It looks fine on my end, I think.
Okay. Well, if I can't get the video on, I will. We will still go audio because the podcast is a
Mhm.
podcast, right?
Yeah, that's right. Let me
Alrighty.
see
Well,
if it'll work.
I think it's on my end. I'm not. I don't have the best internet right now.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Let me try something. But we are. As long as we still got audio going, that's all that matters. How you feel so far, though? It's going pretty good. I think so.
It's really funny.
There we go. All right. I'm
Works. You're
back.
good.
I'm back up on the prompt on the screen. No, I'm not. Okay. Well, all right. We're gonna keep going. We
Mhm.
improvise here. This is how we do it.
Yes.
Um. So I want to talk about the uh the 2024 return of Dark Harbor. Where were you when it got announced? What were your thoughts and emotions about it? Because, like, for me as a Haunt fan, I mean, this was a you gotta imagine this was a Haunt that we didn't, we saw last in 2019, didn't see it again until 2024. We didn't even know if it was going to return at all. And they come up with this press event. They do this big announcement. They thinking you're just going to see things that are going to be on the ship for the rest of the year. It was mainly for Dark Harbor, but there was other things announced as well. But what were your reactions when they finally, did that worldwide announcement?
Yeah, so I was like just scrolling through Instagram as one does, and then I saw like, oh, Dark Harbor's back, and like all the like cool little like teaser pictures and stuff like that. And I was like, oh wait, no way. Cause I was planning to go back regardless of what they were doing. Cause again, I really did have a great time at Shaktoberfest. So I was like, okay, like hell yeah, Dark Harbor, it's interesting. And then like I went in like to the lore of it. I was like, I need a little refresher. So like I searched up like old videos and stuff like that from Dark Harbor back in the day, and I was like, oh wait, this is like really cool. Like it's all like historically tied, and it's actually like really scary and like and stuff like that. So I was like, man, I hope I am able to audition for that because it'd be really cool.
Yeah, I mean Dark Harbor, and that's another thing I think I love with Dark Harbor's theming is a lot of everything that they do is you know goes back to the ship and the history of the ship and such a wide history of the ship from World War II, even after World War II and everything before World War II. It has a lot of historical significance, and for them to really tie that and put a horror scary twist on it is just insane. I actually remember taking one of the ghost tours, like I think a little bit last year, maybe 2 years ago. We did it now, and one of the tour guide was telling me that because of everything they've done with Dark Harbor over the years, they've actually manifested spirits in certain places, such as Scary Mary. There was never really a ghost girl up until that point, and they think it got manifested from Haunt all these years, and just hearing that, I'm like, "Yeah, that kinda makes sense," you start doing stuff over these years, and you're gonna manifest something, but what was it like for you to find out that you were gonna play the role of the iconic Scary Mary at, Queen Mary's Dark Harbor? Because this is a role that obviously is a face character of the event, and someone that is very, obviously known for the event and someone that I think if didn't return, we were all gonna throw a riot.
Man, it was insane. Like the management and the like talent crew, whatever, they reached out to me so like back in 2024, like months, like I want to say like maybe a month or two after the announcement that Dark Harper was coming back. And I didn't think that they like I was necessarily memorable from Sharktoberfest. So I was like they reached out to me and they're like, "Hey, like we're gonna be doing a panel at Midsummer Scream. Would you be able to be Scary Mary?" Like, and they emailed me that, and I was like,
Oh, was you at the
"Whoa,
panel?
yeah, yeah, that was me."
I was sitting in
um,
attendance for that panel.
oh no way, that's
Oh, yes.
crazy. No, well, I guess we have met each other then. That's actually crazy. But like, yeah, they reached out. They're like, "Hey, do you want to do the panel?" I was like, "Yes, please. Like, I really need this." So, um, I got there, and I'll just tell you like real quick the story about that. Like, I got there the day of. I was so nervous. I had again before then. I did my research like crazy. I searched up every clip of Dark Harbor, every little teaser trailer that included Scary Mary. Because as an actor, like if you're going into a character that's already pre-established, you want to do your research. So I made sure to do that, like so I could understand the character more, and also so I could, not would have some kind of foresight into like going to like such a, I guess, beloved character. And so like I got there the day of and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go. Like I'm super nervous, but like I'm just gonna go in, I'm gonna do it. And I go in, I get immediately put in the makeup chair and like every single part of myself got changed. Like it was different. Like a wig, contacts, like skin, like just every single thing was just Mary completely just took over. And then like we did a quick table read, and then like I got like escorted through the convention, and people were looking at me crazy, and like I could like see like people like with the glimmer of like, oh, who is that? Like, Dark Harbor. And then I went up and I did the panel, and I was like, oh my gosh, I felt like I did horrible. I don't know. I didn't feel like confident in that. And I was like, jeez Louise. And then I went down and then I did photo ops for like a couple hours as Scary Mary, and just like seeing people be like, "Oh, I remember you," like Scary Mary, like they're coming back, like the reception from the fans was like crazy, and I even got like a little scares there, which like I've only ever done like kind of maze, scaring, so like to be out there and like to like fill that out was really good, for me, and it was just crazy. And then they're like, "Hey, do you want to be Scary Mary for the rest of the season?" And I was like, "Oh, like yeah, sure." Are you kidding me? Um, and then like fast forward a couple months after that to audition season for I guess somewhere in my crazy little mind, I forgot that they had told me that they wanted me to be Scary Mary. So I went into that audition and I was like, oh man, like I didn't really do much. Like I don't know. And then like I told my friend I was auditioning with, I was like, I didn't get it. Like there's no way like I'm not gonna come back. I did horrible. Um and then of course like a week later they're like, yeah, you're Scary Mary. Like obviously duh, like you're in. And I was like, oh shoot. I just like I that just goes to show how nervous I was about reprising, like not even reprising with this role, like kind of bringing this character back to life as a new actor because I'm not the same actor that did the original Scary Mary. I was just so nervous and really wanting to get it right. So um yeah, I was just like, ah, okay, we're good to go now. Like, let's jump into full gear. And then they also told me, hey, do you want to like be streets Scary Mary, like icon Scary Mary? And I was like, oh yes, please. I've never done streets before. I'm like rookie. I'm like if a rookie was like a rookie, you know what I mean? Like extra. So I was like, oh, a lot of responsibility for sure.
Oh man, I mean, it's funny that you brought up the old actress that played Scary Mary because like over the pandemic, we got to do a podcast with her, and she was incredible as the role. But I have to say, man, I mean, this role, this version of Scary Mary that you did, this was the perfect rebirth and reimagining that we needed for the continuation going forward, and to revive that character once again. And I think you did an outstanding job with the research, and I think you did an amazing job as the character. It was shown every single night that you were out there, but especially the 3 nights that we went. I would see you running around, having fun, having a good time, scaring people. Um, and I have to say that I think it was cool this year, and I've mentioned this already before a couple times. I thought it was cool this year that you guys got to do a really different approach for an opening ceremony that a lot of other haunts don't necessarily do, which was kind of open the doors at 8 o'clock, and then at 8:08 it was time for the opening ceremony on the main stage. Um, as much as I did love the representation of showing every individual character, I so wish that you and a lot of other rookies could have gotten to witness the opening of the gates. I'm pretty sure you saw that doing your research. That's a famous Dark Harbor thing they did in the past. But I think with what they did with their opening ceremony to showcase every maze, every icon, every character, I thought that was cool because it represented the event as a whole rather than just a couple of people.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I had seen like in my research like the videos of the past opening ceremonies, and like those are wild. Like there was like ooh like the gates, and it was super intense and stuff like that. And with this one this year, like it was the production quality was super good. Like, I'm talking, like, backstage, and then you go on stage, and then you have these, like, platforms that you can climb up on and, like, do your little thing on, and like, I would say, like, we kept the energy alive, also, like, with, our amazing actors and our amazing, icon characters that were reprising roles and whatnot, like, they just would just go up like it was nothing, like, "Oh, yeah, I've been on this stage, and, like, I've done this, like, a gazillion times," and so it was just, like, it did the energy was always there, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree, and like I said, we got to go 3 different nights, and every single night we went through every single maze and watched the slider show twice. Uh, Anything we can, fire show if it was on. Of course, have some good food while you're at Dark Harbor because Dark Harbor is known for all the amazing spots. By the way, how do you guys work that event and not get hungry? Because like I would be starving just smelling that stuff all night.
Oh my god. That's so funny that you say that. Luckily they give us time to, like, go get food, like, beforehand, but, like, it's only, what we're allowed to do, but and that's really bad, I probably shouldn't be saying this. Like, out there, if somebody offers you food and you're in character and, like, it's in the vein of the character, I mean, you're gonna eat the food. Like, I have so many of my buds out there would, like, get handfuls of fries from, like, a guest or, like, eat off of their turkey leg. Like, it was very much we did not we did not, like, be as proper about that as we probably should have been. Like, it was so tough seeing the funnel cakes walk by you, like, it was and, like, there's food everywhere, like, every
Everywhere.
single corner is, like, a new thing, and you're like, "Damn, that looks so good." Like, the pork belly kebabs, I was dying out there. I had to pretend like I didn't want one. Hell yeah, I want because, guests will do that, like, they'll offer you food. I got that, like, so many times out there, and I'd be like, "Oh," like, I'm a non-speaking character, or I made myself a non-speaking character, so, like, I couldn't be like, "Oh, yes, please." Like, I had to be like, "No, sorry, I don't eat." Like, but, like, without actually saying it. Um,
But in
but,
reality,
like,
you're
to
like, I
come
would
from
love
that.
to have a piece of that right now.
Oh my god, even right now, this very second, I'm salivating thinking about it. Like, but, like, a cool thing with that too is, like, just because there's so much food around and, like, everybody's eating at every second, like, I would, like, counteract that hunger by, like, fake vomiting or, like, fake throwing up, like, right next to somebody eating, like, you gotta do it. How can you not?
So
Even
you get
though,
grossed
the
out and you're
smell
just
after
like,
is
"Oh,"
amazing.
you're like, "They're done. They're done."
Yeah, that was
That's
so
funny.
great. The gross outs, oh, those were the best.
Oh, man. Dropping a $18 beer on the floor, that's always the best.
Oh, man. I for sure knocked over somebody's, alcoholic beverage because I like to bang on tables when I'm walking by or, like, to get somebody's attention, but they were always nice about it, thank goodness.
No, man. Yeah, who's really gonna yell at a little girl at that point? You know what I mean? Like, who's gonna, you know?
Exactly.
It's like you can almost literally get away with murder and they would turn the other way.
Like, the things I was able to get away with out there is crazy. Which again, I think I just wanna, like, a little appreciation out there, but my main running partner, Jackson DeWolf, he was one of our half-hatch Henrys. He kept me so safe out there and, like, because like, being out there as a little girl, like, as a little girl character, like, it's kind of a safety hazard in a way because people, like, drunk people or whatever, like, they get really handsy or, like, they actually think you're a little girl. Which is so weird. I'm like, it's not how it works. But
Makes me
like,
really wonder about people too.
oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm like, dude, why are you saying this crazy stuff? Like, I'm a little girl, like I'm playing a little girl like to the fullest extent right now. But like for my safety, like I had to have a running partner, unfortunately, just because, I gotta be safe,
Yeah.
unfortunately, playing that kind of character. And because of that, I had many running partners throughout the whole season. Like I would walk with clowns because like she's a playful little kid, so it would make sense. But my main running partner, Half Hatch Henry, like he kept me so safe out there, and like we scared the same aggressive way too. So we were really fast, and like because I had his kind of protection and support out there, I was able to, you know, like scare properly, try different things. You know, again, like I felt so comfortable out there during the season just because I had like incredible support from him and just everybody else there, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I always hear, and that's the number one thing I always hear about, a lot of people especially on very crowded nights is how much a running partner had got them by just the night, in general, especially if they're having a terrible night or just it's a rough night for them, how much of a running partner helps to get them by that night. So that's really good to hear that, especially, and I do apologize on behalf of people in general, but especially for people that are very inappropriate, especially towards women. It is very upsetting to see that at any haunt, but I'm so glad that there are people out there that can group up together on those very crowded, more so awareness nights, um, because it is important to have someone to have your back and you have someone else's back, and it's always important to have a witness when everything goes down. Especially like if something's inappropriate or anything. It's always good to have that witness to back your story and stuff. But I would see you again, like you mentioned, with multiple running partners, and I always thought that was funny because it was the way you interacted with each one of them was always different. You know what I mean? Like, talk to me about how that was, especially getting the opportunity to run with so many people. Like, how was it to interact with all the different people in character?
Oh man, actually it was so much fun to be honest. Like a lot of times I would mainly like run with clowns and whatnot. And the thing about these actors on the streets, right? Like they're the top notch, like they're the best of the best, and like for good reason because a lot of these clown actors were so damn creative with their bits, with their skits, the whole thing. Like I I would just have conversations with them backstage, and I'd be like, "How'd you get into this? Like, how does your mind work that way?" You know what I mean? And like because of like that camaraderie that I built with them, and because they're just such incredible performers, like seriously, like they would come up with stuff on the fly. Like their improv is insane, and like we would make up like little skits on the fly like okay let's do this and you kind of just like work with how their character works and you kind of build off of that and out there it was a treat and a half I tell you and a lot I learned so much from them too about like their scaring tactics because as much as they were like creative and silly they were also like oh man their scares were like pow pow like they were so they were locked in. And actually one of my particular running partners, Jeremy, he was like one of our like clowns or whatever. Like he was the one that like we wear the dog collar. I don't know if you like were able to see him, but like or sorry, the dog cone. Genius. He actually introduced me to one of the scaring tactics that I would end up using the rest of the season, which was like I would carry my bear around, Guts. I miss him to this day. And he was like, oh, like because like my throat was hurting because I'm a non-speaking character, but like I would make like guttural throat noises and stuff like that. But like I would get tired after a bit. So he's like, hey, try this, and he gave me a dog toy, like the squeaker from a dog toy, and I was like, put this in your bear, like so every time you don't want to make a noise, just do that. And I was like, huh, interesting. And then I was like, I tried it out for one night. The scares from a dog toy, absolutely crazy. Like it was so easy. I'd walk I'd walk by somebody and like I'd have my bear and like I'd go right in front of their face walking by it and I'd go like and like people would jump back. Like it was
Oh
so
man.
cool, and again, because it's, like, being around these amazing actors out there that I was so fortunate to run with, and just seeing all their, like, little tips and tricks and, like, how they interact with people, it was such like, I was genuinely just having the time of my life out there, just getting to try these new bits and stuff.
And I have to say, as far as Dark Harbor goes for 2024, I mean, what a comeback! Because there was so many people in and out that would come out scared for a night, scared for the rest of the season that were people that scared back in the day at Dark Harbor. So, when you take my thing that I always look forward to every single year and the excitement that I get every single year is all right, we're getting some new people out there this year in the streets. We're gonna get some new people filling these mazes. Like, what are they gonna do to bring to the table? What are they gonna bring to the table that's gonna add on to the zone, add on to the character, add on to the story? And that's always the most exciting part every single year is to see how they take those characters, make them their own, or how in general they just are gonna be the character. And to see that mixed with the veterans that came back, especially, you know, the one night they had the tribute slider show, which brought back so many people, which people already know by watching these podcasts. That is dubbed the greatest night at Dark Harbor of all time, I think, just because of how many people came back and just the mixture of people they had going on there. What was it like for you to, like you said, I mean, you got a lot of some veteran advice throughout the run to save your voice. You know, what was it like to talk to other veterans about the event? You know, one of my favorite people, two of my favorite people that worked the event came back for one of them came back for a select few nights. One of them did the entire run. The ringmaster and the admiral, two of my favorite people from Dark Harbor, and to see them come back and Peggy, big shout out to her, did pretty much the entire run for her farewell year, and then Brad coming back doing the Admiral a couple nights. I mean, that was just to see those two was Dark Harbor for me. What was it like to talk to people like them or just other veterans and just kind of get those different advice? Was it something that really helped you and boosted you throughout the season? Did you take a lot of things and Frankenstein things together? Like, what was your mindset with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Funny story. I actually had known Peggy because I worked with her with Oktoberfest, and I saw her and acted with her when we did the panel. I was like, Peggy, I never thought I'd see you again. What the heck? And so like she's always like near and dear to my heart for sure. Her and her husband, amazing actors, amazing people. And I remember at the beginning of this season, she gave me this teddy bear keychain with blood on it. It was like a Scary Mary keychain from like I guess like a press conference or something. She's like, "Hey, like I want to give you this, and I'm like, I want to let you know like you're gonna do great, and like you got this character. You're gonna be just fine." Like I was like really nervous about it, and I think she knew that like how much like it meant to me to get this character right, and she just gave me just like the best advice like whenever like I was in sore need of it. And Brad too, he's hilarious. He's such a character like inside and outside.
Minute
And
I'm sorry, real quick. The minute I heard his voice at the panel, I was like, "Oh man, if anyone knows the panels." And with Brad,
Yup.
the script's going out the window and they're going all improv.
Like their improv, their like actor chemistry goes crazy. Like
Oh, it's so good.
they're trying stuff backstage. I was like dying laughing. It was the best thing ever. And I would like again, I would just like ask them like, oh, like how do you feel coming back to this, like like what would you give like advice for me to get it right, because you guys knew the original Scary Mary, so I wanted to like kind of get an idea about that. And I did what you said, like I kind of just Frankenstein all of their advice and knowledge together, as I do with this whole Scary Mary bit. It's just constantly just putting things together, hoping it'll work out. And it just meant the world to me that like I could act with such like actual icons that have been through Dark Harbor before, and that were like you said, are Dark Harbor. So, and especially with one of them being their last year, like it made me really sad. But I was so fortunate to be able to act with them as Scary Mary. Like I'm still shocked to this day, and grateful that I was able to do that.
I know, and talk about, real quick with Brad. I mean, I've always loved his interactions with Scary Mary as the captain. It was just so funny to see their chemistry on stage and just to see what that was like and to see his reactions every time Scary Mary came into no matter who was playing the role. It was just how he always was around Scary Mary was just so funny to me. And just the same thing with Peggy, just him and Peggy just go back and forth at each other, and it's like they're an old married couple, you know what I mean? It's hilarious to watch on stage, and they're two, and we've gotten to meet them, um, both in and out of character, and they're two of the most amazing people that we've ever gotten to talk to. But damn, man, it's gonna be very sad to see them, never return to those characters. But I always say in the haunt world, never say never. But I think Peggy this time was serious. I think she's hanging it up for good now. She did whatever she did the most that she can with that character and brought it to new heights. And I was glad to see that she was able to do it one last time for the return of Dark Harbor and do a good send off. But yeah, that is amazing to hear that to have someone like Peggy to talk to, you know what I mean, and to give you that advice going forward. And same thing with Brad. Um, it's amazing to hear like those veterans pass down advice because that's what it's supposed to be about. You're supposed to get the next generation, get the new faces ready for this, not scare them away from this or talk down about them. This like at the end of the day, we're a team, you know.
Mhm.
It's we, not me, is what I always say.
Exactly, and I just wanna, like, say about the camaraderie that we have as, like, all together as actors at Dark Harbor is, like, something I've never experienced in my life. Like, there are absolutely no egos on set. Like, it doesn't matter if you're Streets or Maze, like, everybody's just, like, would clump together. If you're on the same break time, you end up talking in the smoking area or something, you know what I mean? Like, everybody is just so, like, open and willingness and, like, they love what they're doing, and just, like, I'll never get over it. Like, I still have many great friends to this day that I talk to from Haunt, and, especially on Streets this year, like, being a rookie, I was super, like, super scared about it, and everybody on Streets, from the sliders to the chainsaws to the clowns, like, just everybody, to my fellow icons that would roam too, like, the support was it just meant everything. Like, it was like, the way everybody cares about each other over there is so special, and I just I'm just really grateful that, like, I made so many wonderful connections because I love everybody there. They all know what they're talking about. All the newbies too, like, we're, like, rookies together, and we're trying our best every single night.
Well, it makes me so happy to hear how excited you guys were and how much of a, family you guys were working this event. And from a fan's point of view, when it comes to like when we walked through it and stuff, it was emotional, especially like for anyone that was fans of this event from years prior to like, seeing it return today, or even brand new fans of the event who've never experienced Dark Harbor but may have watched it on YouTube long ago, or, have watched it on YouTube and wanted to experience it. Now this was the return of Dark Harbor. And I think that, I was super happy and impressed and just overall uh grateful and thankful that Dark Harbor was back. It was Dark Harbor again. Uh Another thing that I found very interesting this season was the floor print for Dark Harbor this year was probably the biggest floor print they've ever done with a haunt at that location. Talk to me about how that was, especially you being a street character. I mean, you had the freedom to pretty much roam the entire area from the circus to the front of the ship to the voodoo area. Like, what was that for you to have just the freedom and the fun? Like, maybe some nights you felt like being in the circus, or some nights you felt like being in the voodoo area. Like, what was it like to have that freedom to go and do whatever you wanted?
Oh man, it was so great. It was so like I went crazy. I went wild because I was talking to like the management or whatever, and they're like, yeah, like the footprint for this is huge. Like, we're like expanding it like two times that it originally was. So, like, just go crazy. You're an icon character, so you can roam anywhere you want. And I was like, oh, say less. Are you kidding me? And I like that's exactly what I did. Like, it was so fun to kind of switch my character around to the specific area that I was in. Like, if I was in the clown area, I would be more like playful and like silly and stuff like that. Or like I just look at people like having fun, like very menacingly. If I was in the voodoo area, I was just like completely silent, serious, just like walking through. If I was in the party area, I'd just like, I'd be like a lot more aggressive with my scares and stuff like that. And it was so great too because also as a icon character, one of our responsibilities is to go within the cabana lounges, like in the VIP areas and stuff like that. So whether it was on the ground or if it was like you had to take stairs to get up there, like I had the complete ability to go anywhere I wanted. And I think every night I would do rounds and laps. Like, I'd go everywhere. Ask anybody there, like I speed run it. Like, I walk so fast out there, and like I'll do really aggressive, like like one and done scares, and then I'd move on to the next. So it was so fun. I really was like a kid in a candy store there. And I would interact with the vendors too because it's like, why not? You know what I
You
mean?
know, make their night too, right?
Oh yeah, like I like people would be like passing like a vendor would be passing food to somebody in line, like and I like stand behind them or like I'd go up to them and I like fake vomit on their food as they just got it. Like I would just like it was so fun. I was really grateful my first time around just having the complete ability to just go anywhere I wanted, whenever I wanted, and it was a blast. It was so cool.
One thing I wanna talk about is, before I have a guest on, sometimes I like to do a little homework just to know who I'm talking to and just to get an idea of the personality of the person and stuff. One thing I noticed, that you had on your Instagram page that I really dug that was a cool concept, which I felt made it more you and more original, and I don't know if you got to go out one night to actually do that character like that, but you actually gave Scary Mary, you had your regular black hair compared to the blonde wig. Was that something that you got to go out and do for a night for like just a different version, a different adaptation of Scary Mary, or was that something that you just kind of you did for the hell of it for Instagram?
Well, actually, I think what you might be referring to was that was the ghost character I played in 2023 Shacktoberfest, and that's when I had
See,
my natural hair.
you see how similar those characters are though. Like I was
Yeah,
completely like blown away by that.
completely understandable. Like we use the exact same dress, I believe, for that. Like, and yeah, actually, I had that. What was cool about that was that that dress that I wore when I did Shacktoberfest, they had modified for me specifically. So when it came to Dark Harbor, they're like, "Oh, this is actually the original Scary Mary dress." Like, the whole look of it and the gown and all. And I was able to get that modified dress for me. So, like, you look side to side, like they're very similar. They're
I mean,
super
you can
super
even do a
similar.
lore like they're sisters right there. There you go.
Oh, pretty much. Yeah. When you think about it, I was actually just confined to the wig the whole run. I ran through like I had 2 wigs in entirety for the whole last season. Actually, no, 3 technically. There's one I had for the panel, which was just completely different. And then the first time around, because I was hitting my head so much out there and I was like tweaking out, like actually like ripping my hair, like I was just going crazy out there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I'm mad at that wig too from the sweat, from the makeup, from hitting myself that I had to get it replaced like halfway through the season. And it's like legit because it just got too messy. It was too crazy. And they're like, oh no. So like I was confined to that wig the whole run, but like it was cool to completely just be entirely different from myself.
Yeah.
Like with Jackie, which was a past character that I played, they allowed me to have my original hair and, like, that was cool and all, but honestly, I prefer the wig because it was just so different from who I am. And yeah, I just like to have fun with it. I took a completely different approach from how I played that character back in 2023, Jackie, and to um Scary Mary now, which was like for one, I play her completely aggressive. She's silent now. She's like she moves with her shoulders. She's huffing and puffing. She's angry one minute. She's like playful the next, and stuff like that. So like I really just if anything I just kind of try to stay true to like what I thought the character was, try to be as it's like method acting out there, like 24/7, like eyes are on you. You got to be
Yep.
locked in. Like I just let her take over out there, and I was just trying things too because like I never wanted to feel like I was getting bored of the character. And there's so much to pull from because the great thing about Scary Mary is that like yes, she's a little character, like she's a little girl character, but like you can pull from like movies like possession movies like The Exorcist. I got that a lot out there too because I was in fact trying to emulate that. Like a lot of possession movies, a lot of creepy children movies, and just like the rich history of the Queen Mary. Like there's so much to pull from, and I was just going ham out there every night, just trying something different.
I was just gonna ask you that too, like, what was some of your biggest influences behind the character? Because you did say you're a big movie buff, so I imagine, like you said, there's so many you can pull from, and a lot of horror movies actually gravitate towards creepy children. So, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
it's so fun to there's such a wide variety to pull from, and I think that there's so much inspiration to go out there for what you can pull from. But I honestly, I could see when you brought up Reagan right now, I was like, I could see some Reagan. Um, that's always a good one to pull from. Yeah, there's so many little like I mean, for me, when I'm thinking of creepy little girls, the first one that comes to mind too is The Shining. I mean, I know you don't see them very often in there, but just their presence and just how they deliver those lines in that movie is just so memorable and creepy that I remember it kind of gave me nightmares for a little bit just thinking about that scene. It was just, ugh, it's creepy. Um, I absolutely loved what you did with this character this year, and like I said, it was like a reimagining, a new rebirth of the character for the new and the reimagined Dark Harbor going forward, and that's what I loved about what they did with Dark Harbor overall. They kept the foundation and the roots as to what made Dark Harbor work in the past, and they added to it on top of that for something that's new for the next people, the next generation to take over and do with what they will. Um, I think they had a lot of great management behind the scenes this year. From what I've seen across the board, I thought they had talent across the board was just stacked. As far as mazes, street talent, the slider team, the fire team, like um, the aerobatics team, like everything, like it was just insane to see that the vibe of Dark Harbor was back. That you yourself got to contribute to it as one of the face characters that was Scary Mary. Um, I have you on my. I bought a Costco ticket and Scary Mary's on the Costco ticket. So there you go. Don't be surprised you
Hey,
start getting people to autograph that for you now.
oh man, um, yeah, and like I just want to say too, like I'm just so grateful that they gave me there's big responsibility to bring this character back to life and to play her like in the icon way. I mean, it truly does mean the world to me because I like going into this, I never wanted to feel like I was like, like, oh, I'm this actor. I'm playing this big role. Ha ha ha. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to pay my due respects to the past actress that played Scary Mary because she did amazing and I learned so much from watching her clips. And like I'm always just trying to like be the like most raw version of that character as possible. You know what I mean? So again, I'm just really grateful that I was able to bring this character back to life. I really tried my best and I did tons of research, like I said, um and I just went into it with the purest intentions that I could.
So is it safe to say that Shorty is probably sticking around Dark Harbor for years to come? Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully I mean, it seems like it. If they would like me back as Scary Mary, I would absolutely be up for it.
I I
You know what
I
I
I hope
mean?
so. 2025, is that something that, you're definitely gonna be doing again when auditions come around? We're gonna definitely see you back out there, hopefully getting that spot as Scary Mary back again?
Yeah, yeah, I hope so. I also like I'm a college student, so like we'll see where the future
Life.
holds. But like I
Yeah.
really want to try to, yeah, I really want to try to come back because I don't feel like I'm done yet with Scary Mary. I feel like there's a lot more ground to cover and stuff like that.
Oh, just getting started. I can only imagine too, like every scare actor does going through the season is like, when you start a new character, it's always trying to figure out that character in the beginning, especially going into it. It's always like you said, doing the research and trying to see what that last person did and then see how you could take that and then add your own stuff into it. But then as the season progresses and as the season goes on, that character starts to evolve and evolve and evolve more and more. And by the end of the season, it's a completely different character than what you started with, and I see it every single
Mhm.
season with characters across the board at all the haunts, and it's mind blowing to me how much they can evolve within that much time, and to see what that evolution goes to in the next season. So I am very excited to see what you can bring to the table for the next year, this year coming up, for Scary Mary coming back. If you do get that role, like you said, I think there's a lot of ground that you could still cover, a lot of things that you could still bring to the table with the character, and we just have to wait and see what the future holds for Queen Mary's Dark Harbor 2025 at that point, right?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I again, I want to thank all of you guys across the board at Dark Harbor this season, 13th Floor Entertainment, for reviving Dark Harbor once again and bringing it back to the Queen Mary. I think that was such an amazing move in the haunt world and such a great comeback that I cannot wait to see what we do for reboot year two. Um, because and this is one of the reboots that we actually enjoy, not the one that just you get a reboot of a movie and it just sucks. It's not good. This is one that's actually probably better than the original, if not gonna surpass it eventually. But nonetheless, I think it's safe to say Dark Harbor is back. Dark Harbor is, I think, here to stay. A lot of fans missed it, and the numbers every single night at Dark Harbor showed with the amount of people coming in the gates, visiting. Shout out Costco for that deal. That's why there were so many people there.
My goodness, I didn't know that.
Uh, so shout out Costco because it was like two for $75 on like the second best express pass or something like that. So that's why it was like a good deal for people to go. And I'm not gonna lie, I took advantage of the deal a couple times. So
As you should, as you should. I was like, "Damn, it's, like, awfully packed around here, and everybody's ordering pizza." From Costco, maybe.
yep, it's exactly it. And you know what? Next time I come through and I figure out the information as to if they're getting any two for tickets, I'm gonna pass the information along per scare actor and be like, hey, listen, this is the deal for this season. So be prepared for high crowds. Uh, Before we let you go, I got my final two questions. If anyone is curious, or if they want to, or if you feel comfortable doing it, is there any platforms that people can follow you on for social media?
Yeah, I just have my Instagram, which is just my name. It's just Jasmine D Ariola, all lowercase. And yeah, I post my film stuff on there. I post my scare acting stuff. So that's pretty much the only place.
You currently doing you studying film in college?
Yeah, I am actually. I want to make horror movies one day. So
Me too.
again, all engulfing obsession.
Me too. Me too. One of my favorite all-time directors, that's not horror, just in general of all time, is Quentin Tarantino. I think the
Mm,
man
classic.
he the way he directs and the way he storytells, it's just for some reason every time I watch his movies, I feel like I learn something new, even though I've seen all of his movies like a million times.
Mhm.
Um,
Like Death
but
Proof, a big influence for me.
Death Proof is so good. I'm glad, and that's you know what I said Quentin Tarantino, and like normally what someone would have brought up like Pulp Fiction, Hateful Eight, not even Hateful Eight, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood stuff. You brought up Death Proof. I was like, that's a deep cut right there.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm a big film nerd. Huge
Stuntman
one.
Mike. I love Stuntman Mike. I love Stuntman Mike. Yeah, that's one of my favorite films, especially just the car alone. But yeah, I love Kurt Russell. Such a great actor. So, which brings me to my final question. With you being as big of a horror movie slash film buff as I am, this will probably come as a hard question because there's so many subgenres, there's so many movies out there. But what is your favorite horror movie?
Oh man, geez, this is so difficult. I feel like it changes like every time, because like one week I'm feeling Final Destination, the next I'm feeling Bride of Chucky. But I feel like I got to go with the original, which is the original Scream. It was just so influential to horror as we know it, and it really got me into like the whole world of film, writing film, making horror movies, and it's just so damn good. So I just gotta go with Scream for this one. It's just a classic one. I'll always love that one.
We're gonna send it up to Wes Craven right there. Wes Craven's a freaking genius when it comes to the horror world. Um,
No, legit.
God, that man has missed every single day. That guy gave us in one lifetime. That guy gave us two slasher icons. That's just when you think
It's
about that.
incredible.
Like you got Freddy Krueger and you got Ghostface. Like, and then he took the he helped invent the slasher genre with Nightmare on Elm Street. Then he reinvented the slasher genre and added some meta realism to it. And I'm just like, this guy is just a fucking genius, and they don't make him like him no more.
They don't, and that's why I feel like it'll always be like a number one movie for me, for sure.
I have to say right now, my all time favorite will always be Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Just so cheesy.
Yeah.
I love Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's one of my favorite films of all time. I need a sequel. I mean, the game was great, but I need more. Give me more.
Okay.
Um, but right now, I think my all-time my currently favorite horror movie right now is, Long Legs.
Ooh, that's such a good one. Oh, man,
Yeah.
I love Long Legs.
Osgood
When that came
Perkins,
out
so good.
okay,
Yeah.
amazing. I for me right now, I'm still kind of I'm reliving the whole Final Destination, series. Once again, I was obsessed, with it when I first found out about it, like, a couple years ago, and, like, now with Bloodlines coming out, I'm, like, going through it again. I'm like,
Yep.
"Oh my god, this is so genius. It's so good."
Yeah, I think Final Destination for me, like, I th those movies are so fascinating to me, but they also have fucked me up and scarred me in life. Uh, you know, afraid to get on planes, afraid to be in traffic, afraid to get on a roller
Mhm.
coaster, you name it. It's probably got a
Yes.
fear of something, and I think that's the point of those films, right?
Uh-huh.
But yeah, Bloodline sounds like a brand new take on the Final Destination film, so I'm excited to see what they do with that. That trailer that we got of the barber shop or the piercing shop, uh, God, that was just a
So
taste of
good.
what we're probably gonna get. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's gonna be great. But
absolutely.
great choice. Scream is always gonna be a good one. I'm very much I've said it before and I'll say it again. The only way Scream 7 was going to get saved is if they brought back Matthew Lillard, and they're bringing back Matthew Lillard, so that movie's officially saved.
True.
Um, with all that being said, I want to again thank you so much, Shorty, for being on the show today, for being a part of the Dark Harbor Takeover, and we hope to see you back for the 2025 season. Reprise that role of Scary Mary, although we do know life does get in the way, and we got to do what's best for us in life. My camera is just shutting off already. That's great. Um, but nonetheless, we hope that you are returning. Can you hear me still? Am I still coming through?
Yeah,
Okay.
very good.
I know. We've had nothing but technical difficulties these last couple episodes that I filmed, but we're getting through it. But again, you did a phenomenal job this season, and we thank you
Thank you
for
so much.
everything that you brought to the character and help bringing that character back to life. It has just been so awesome, and it's been an honor and a privilege to interview all these amazing, talented scare actors for the Dark Harbor takeover, and this was a no-brainer when we had to do it. Dark Harbor is back. We had to talk about it, and we love Haunt because it's February and we're still talking about Haunt. So
Yeah, we're starting early, that's for sure. Thank you so
hashtag
much.
hard eyes,
Hashtag.
hard eyes.
Oh,
There you go. For
yep, there you go.
Valentine's Day, for all you Valentine's Day guys, you want to watch your horror movie, watch Hard Eyes.
That was very true. Again, thank you so much. I'm so grateful that like you would even want to spend time interviewing me. So thank you so much.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. My girlfriend, a massive Dark Harbor fan, I have to put this out there. She thought everyone, she even she was going to be the biggest critic when it came to Dark Harbor because she went all those years, and even she had a great time, and even she loved
Love
the
horror.
versions of Scary Mary and stuff. So awesome, awesome job. Uh, but if nothing else more, I'm your host Anthony, who you cannot see no more, like John Cena. This is Shorty. You are watching the Dark Harbor Takeover right here on the Mindless Horror Podcast on the Nights of Horror. And we will see you guys next week for another episode with another talented scare actor. Stay spooky.